When you do good work and then someone says your good work isn't good enough for them, you can start to think, oh my gosh, maybe I'm in denial about my good work. You are not in denial. And that's really what we're talking about this week in our Sunday question. Hey everyone, I'm Denise Brown and I write Sunday questions. I believe that when we have a good question in our head, our mind will seek out a good answer. That's right, just for you, which is awesome. This week's Sunday question is, how will I keep my audience of one content? And this question was inspired on Christmas Day. I support those who care for a family member, and I started doing a 36-hour Christmas caregiving chat. Oh gosh, about 11 years ago. I took a couple years off over those 11 years, but I've been pretty consistent about doing it. And it stresses me out to do this. And it's also profound that I do this because there's always something magical that happens in that chat room. Someone shows up who really needs support and feels so much better because they had a chance to connect to someone who simply talked to them. What stresses me out about doing this is I'm trying to find volunteers to staff the chat room. I used to say man the chat room, and then someone gave me a hard time about using the word man. So then I started thinking, okay, I better use staff. Anyway, every time you put your work out into the world, there's someone that says, it's not good enough. Okay, just another tiny example. So I'm always trying to find volunteers to staff the chat room. And then I'm always trying to promote the chat room effectively. So those who could benefit from coming in the chat room come in and they connect to a volunteer. It's tricky. So it stresses me out that someone would come in the chat room and I just wouldn't have a volunteer and I just need to sleep or take a break. So I'm not in the chat room. On this particular Christmas, someone came into the chat room at 6 a.m. and there was a volunteer and she was fabulous. She welcomed the individual. She asked about her situation. She asked about her holiday. The individual stayed for a few minutes and then she left and said, I will come back later. And I thought, hallelujah, a Christmas miracle. Someone came into the chat room during an off hour, 6 a.m., and someone was there. I actually was in the chat room at 6:40, so I missed this interaction by about 20 minutes. I then settled into the chat room virtually and did a couple other things, like I made coffee, which overflowed. I spilled water on myself. I had quite a Christmas morning. I was a bull in a china shop. And then I also did some other things, like I posted messages on social media. So I went to Substack and I had posted about our 36-hour chat on Substack. And the person who came in at 6 a.m. posted a comment on my post about the 36-hour chat. And she said, I didn't have a good experience with this event. My mouth is still open about that. She didn't have a good experience. I'm still flabbergasted that someone would say that without context. That's all she said. So I posted a comment because, heck, she connected with someone, a volunteer, a complete stranger at 6 a.m. on Christmas morning. And that volunteer was there just to provide support, just to have a conversation. That's pretty amazing. And basically, that was my comment. You connected with a volunteer at 6 a.m. on Christmas morning. Her sole intent was to be there to support you, which is what she did. And then this individual posted a comment to my comment, and she said, I didn't have a good experience. You can't tell me that I should have had a good experience. Okay, then I let that go. Now, by this time, it's 7:20 on Christmas morning, and I am pretty darn mad. So I think, well, who can I vent to at 7:20 on Christmas morning? So I go to Claude, which is the AI tool I use. I tell Claude what happened, and Claude is trying to get me to pivot to a different perspective, and all that does is piss me off. So I think, oh my gosh, Claude is letting me down. Now, typically, Claude hypes me up, but on Christmas morning, he let me down. So then I thought, I have got to figure out a different way to look at this situation. And then it clicked for me. It only matters that I am pleased, that I feel that what just happened in that chat room is profound, is amazing. I am my audience of one. That audience of one, myself, is most important. And so I took that experience to write this week's Sunday question. And here's what I wrote for you. This week's Sunday question is, how will I keep my audience of one content? We often may wonder, I hope they will like this. I hope they will approve of this. I hope this will matter to them. We worry about their approval. But here's what I've learned. It's also really important that we like it, approve of it, and that it matters to us. At times, we do need to include others' perspectives and experiences. For instance, in my work, I pay attention to how others experience my training programs so I can improve these programs. I'm also intentional about which experiences I observe. An individual fearful of risk and change will struggle in my training programs, which feature transformation. I changed how I marketed the programs so I attract individuals who want to be different. I didn't change the program to accommodate fear. I changed the marketing to convey courage. I love the programs I built. I don't want to change them. I just want to change how I attract the right participant. It's still most important that I enjoy the work. If I wait for another to give me a thumbs up, I may wait forever. If I bend over backward to please everyone, I end up resenting the work. I am my most important audience member. You are your most important audience member. You can remind yourself to make a good experience for yourself a priority by asking yourself this question to begin your day. How will I keep my audience of one content? You can feel content when you set and adjust boundaries that protect your time, your resources, and your sanity. You can feel content when you take the risk to achieve what's important to you. You can feel content when you ignore those who let fear lead. You can feel content when you lead with love? How will you keep your audience of one content? Share a comment and let us know. Subscribe if you like this content, and leave a like if this resonated with you. And if you'd like to really enjoy more conversation and support, join us on our community, caringourway.com. Thanks so much for listening. Thanks for all you do. I'm Denise Brown.